Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very special guest. We have dear Maddy. Maddy is a publicist who is starting her own podcast. M- Maddy, so welcome, Maddy. First of all, I want to know how are you doing and where are you right now?
I'm good. Right now I'm in Los Angeles, California. So living the West Coast life.
Yes. And I want to ask you, Maddie, how does the idea of doing a podcast start before we go to everything? I know that you are a publicist and you are an RP, but how like the idea of starting a podcast came to you?
Yeah, I feel like I wanted a space where it's like my own IP. I'm building it from the ground up. I'm the host. I did the graphic. I'm doing all the editing. It's like my own personal passion project. And eventually I want to open up, like you said, I'm a publicist. I want to open up my own PR agency. And in doing the podcast, I think this is a good like first step to that kind of long-term goal for me is by starting with something a bit smaller but still that's like my own and my own IP.
So originally, what drew you into RP and entertainment and communication? How do you get involved?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I started school as a nursing major. I thought I wanted to be a nurse for a while and then found out soon enough that I'm not a fan of blood. So did a little transition and I was thinking about what I could do and I was between journalism and public relations because I really love to write and I have for a while now. But I kind of ended up going up with public relations instead because you still get that writing experience, but in PR there's like no day is the same. You could be writing a press release one day and working a red carpet the next. So I wanted that kind of like variety and different kind of days every day in my life and basically have like one of those jobs where it doesn't feel like working because you're having so much fun and you're really enjoying it. And I'm happy to say that I do have that.
Yes, and when was your first approach to PR, like the strictly, and how do you say, well, this is what I want?
Yeah, so I studied it in school for undergrad and then also got my graduate degree in it at USC, which is what brought me out to LA initially. But before I like got into the full entertainment PR space, I was doing some internships in more so like the um, like hospitality and nonprofit kind of sectors. And then whenever I kind of knew I had good experience there, I was like, entertainment is where I actually want to be. Like, I'm already well versed in the entertainment world. And I think why not apply something I already know and love into my job?
That's fantastic. So, how your education in Annenberg have shaped you and approached you to get involved in on PR?
Yeah, USC was very helpful. They had a very specific like sports and entertainment focus with a lot of their classes, which is like I just mentioned, like where I wanted to go, my bread and butter. And a lot of the professors were, even though they were professors, they were still like actively working in the industry. So they knew how to like keep up with the trends and keep up with like the ever changing media landscape. And that was very helpful and they're super encouraging. And also just like the network of people in Los Angeles that are in the entertainment space. It's like so wide, but once you start actually getting into it, it's smaller than you think. And one person you met one week might be somebody that like somebody's friend that you meet the next week. So the networking for sure that USC offered was a really great aspect as well.
Yeah, I think networking is really interesting, right? Because it is like a kind of like a game, right? It's like you start with no intention of, you don't go with an intention. You just had a chance to socialize, and sometimes you have the chance to build like trust and like participating in some kind of like a measure helping somebody. That's something that sooner rather or later is going to get something back to you, right? And
Mhm.
And I want to know, like, how do you build trust with your client? What do you think a talent looks for you as a publicist?
Yeah, I mean, building trust is everything as a publicist. You want these clients to know that you have their back and have their best interest at heart. So for me, it kind of starts with getting to know them on like a launch call. That's what we call them, like talking through strategy a
Mhm.
little bit and seeing where we can take them for their press plan. And also, I like to get to know my clients on like a personal level too. Like I always give them my number so they know they can reach out to me, even if it's not something related to the campaign or publicity. Just if like they need something, I'll be there for them.
That's fantastic. Yeah, because you need to be reliable, and
Yeah,
the only way that a person can know you is like if they actually approach to you and they feel you as a person, right? Like it's like the vibe.
exactly.
So and that actually helps to make the things looks authentic and feel supportive on both ways. So what is the most regarding part of helping somebody to shape their narrative?
Yeah, I mean, the most rewarding part to me is just seeing their confidence grow, not only in themselves, but in whichever project they're working on at the moment. It's like, you always think you did a good job and it was like a great time working on the project, but actually getting recognition for it and seeing that other people are interested in you and the work is super, super rewarding and exciting.
Yes, I have a question like from the audience. They ask like, what do you usually do? Like, what is your routine?
Oh, my, like, day to day?
Yeah.
Um, well, it's different every day, which is, like, the exciting part of it, but some, like, pretty typical things in the PR world are, you're researching, you're seeing who would be good journalists, or nowadays too, like, social media people or content creators to reach out to for the campaign. You're writing both pitches and press releases. You're doing like strategy calls, both internally, like at your agency or in house, wherever you might be, as well as like with the clients and also with like outside factors. So, like, if there's a studio involved with the film that you're working to promote a client on, like, obviously your plans are going to have to align with them and you can't step on any toes. So, you want to make sure you're all aligned and, like, all working toward the goal of making the project as successful as possible. I also do media training with clients, so making sure they're prepared for interviews and just ready to answer any questions that come their way. It's a lot. And then we also do events as well for clients. So a lot of planning and logistics with that as well.
Yes. And there is like, I think it's really, when you mentioned something really important. At some point, I think kind of like having relationships is building trust is something like something that you do on the daily basis. But at some point, you don't want to step on anyone's toes. So there is like kind of like a what are the challenges depending different clients, because sometimes they are independent and sometimes they are like a more structured like artists or like companies that they already have like a whole PR career. So what are the difference between the different clients that you represent?
Yeah, at my agency, usually work with folks in film, TV, and a little bit of like the Broadway theater space. So there's lots of different types of people. Like we work with directors and producers. We work with, composers and folks in the music realm of those projects, editors, cinematographers, anybody that makes the project what it is. That's kind of like the role of us as a company.
Yeah, yeah, and you say something really, really important, because sometimes, like you see only the directors, but sometimes there is people who make music. There is like cinematographers, editors. That actually sometimes like the editors has one of the hardest work in the production, because they have to fight everyone.
No,
They
I'm learning this like with
yeah.
the podcast, like editing the podcast, and that's only like a small thing. I can't imagine doing it for a whole movie.
Yes, and overall cutting something that the director has in the original idea and dealing with the producer, like say like, well, this is insane. If you put it there, it's going to like look bad. So I think editors, writers, people who is like in the background and we don't see it, all of them make the things look amazing. So it is really interesting that you work with all these people. So by you're studying at the time that you're working, right, Maddie? You're doing both, studying and working.
No, I'm done
You're
studying.
done school.
I
Yeah,
graduated.
you graduate. So I think like sometimes when you are like working and there is pressure, so how do you handle your well-being like while doing your job?
Yeah, I mean, PR and just like the entertainment and media space are very high pressure. We have this saying, or I have this saying, but it came from somewhere that it's PR, not the ER. And it
Mhm.
is, it is stressful and things definitely matter, but it's not like life or death. And sometimes mistakes can happen, but it's more so like how you overcome those and make up for them.
Mhm.
And then like a good like outlet for me mental health wise, my go-to is music for sure.
Mhm.
And then like just being supported by like my mom and best friend 100%.
Yeah, and I want to know, like, were like a fan of like all the entertainment industry before getting involved on PR?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I grew up as a fan of like so many things. Like that
Mhm,
started as an early age at an early age.
mhm,
Like the first things I can remember are like Lizzie McGuire, Hannah Montana, the Jonas Brothers. Those
mhm.
kinds of Disney stars made a big impact for me early on, and my mom was very supportive and like let those passions fly rather than trying to stifle them. And I think that's like what led me to now being like into so many different interests, and it's super
Mhm.
cool.
Yes, and I actually going to ask you, like, what were like your favorite shows while other than Hannah Montana? What kind of like content do you like? Do you consume like you like shows, movies? Like, I think we are growing up like into a big era of superhero movies that are passing away, but there were
Mhm.
like teenage dramas. There was Harry Potter, fantasy. So what were your favorite genres when while you were growing up?
Yeah, I feel like I was very much like a tomboy into the like action adventure kind of vibes. Big superhero fan. Like I read comic books when I was a preteen. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I see your Venom back there. That's
Yeah.
cool. My favorite show of all time is Smallville. The origin
Mhm.
story of Superman. So big into like anything that's like superhero-y, um, action adventure, a little bit of like sci-fi and fantasy too. I like grew up on the Percy Jackson books being like my favorite book series, so the fact that they're doing like the show right now is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, actually, I was really sad when they produced the first movie and then kind of cancel it. And
Uh,
I was kind of like, I like this because I didn't knew the books, but when I saw the movie, like, this is quite decent. It's like a good idea. I mean, but at some point they then cancel it and they get it back. Same with the Golden Compass. At some point I watch the movie, I like it, and then like, well, what's next? And well, we have a series. Yes. So I want to ask you, connecting like the fan with the PR. Have you ever like in your job of PR? Have you ever met somebody that is like, wow, this is I met this person.
yeah, there's been a few. Um, I think I have like a niche way of looking at it because yes, I am a fan, but it's also you have to be professional at the same time.
Mhm.
I've met Renee Rapp, who she's like one of my favorite singers, and she's an actress and Broadway star as well. I got to meet Kaylani, same a singer, and who she's had like she won a Grammy this year, so like she's up there. And then probably like on more so like the acting side, I got to go to the Tony Awards for some of our Broadway clients and got to see Jake Gyllenhaal, Denzel Washington, and Samuel Jackson on the carpet, which was like, wow, these are like A-list stars just like a foot away from me. So definitely some pretty cool moments, and you got to keep your composure.
Yeah, it is an interesting like phenomenon when you're talking about it and when you actually like they are there. So right now you as a fan decide to create a podcast, you create the branding. So how do you think the podcast is going to roll on? What are your plans?
Yeah, so we're coming in hot and heavy with the initial kind of launch week. I wanted to hit like 3 different buckets. So we're having a sports kind of episode that's focusing on wrestling, and that's probably tied with basketball as my favorite sport. And we have a wrestler being interviewed on the pod. So each episode will be like part me just yapping about that topic of the day and part interview with somebody who's like in that world. So that's like the first episode, and then our second episode is gonna hit the music side. It's gonna talk K-pop with a music producer that's worked in that world. And then the next episode is going to be like TV and film, and it's going to focus on Teen Wolf, one of my favorite shows growing up. And we're going to be chatting with the composer from the show and one of the writers. So super exciting lineup, and hopefully everyone likes it, and then kind of just go from there with similar kind of vibes with different topics.
Okay. And when are you going to are you going to record it? Are you going live? When are you going to to post it or publish it?
Yeah, so those episodes are already recorded and edited and ready to go. The first one's gonna come out on March 5th, the wrestling episode, and then that'll be followed by the K-pop episode on March 9th, and then the Teen Wolf episode on March 12th.
Okay. And I was going to, well, I have some experience in the podcast myself. So are you going to give us like some sneak peeks on your Instagram, or how are you like going to announce us that the podcast is ready, and when and where is the best way to synchronize with you?
Yeah, so I've been like posting on social, teasing things a bit. And then I'm gonna do like a teaser post for the guest in like the next few days or so. And on socials, on Instagram and TikTok, I'm at Maddy Mania Podcast. And then on the podcast platform, same. And there will be like a video portion on YouTube, and then I'll put some clips on Instagram and TikTok from that combo. And then audio wise, it'll be on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and iHeart.
Yes. And about like the spaces, I before we started, I had some music, right? Usually, sometimes I speak a lot, and sometimes I get distracted with music, and I have to see personally because I'm live. I have to see everything at the same time in order for me to flow on. But talking about your podcast, you have music behind, you have like effects. How are you going to put everything together?
Yeah, I'm actually not doing any music, surprisingly. I probably maybe eventually will, but I kind of wanted to start with it just being more of like this conversation kind of vibe, and I thought the music could be a bit distracting from that.
Yes, and also I heard that you're a big fan of Ariana Grande, right?
Probably her number one fan, yes.
How do you? What is your plan to approach the fandom and kind of like share like this experience of being a super fan of somebody, or have you ever tried to reach out directly to Ariana?
Um, no, I've not tried to reach out directly. I want it to be kind of like a natural meeting, so it'll happen that way.
Like
But
with runners like
I've
cross
been
like
to like I've been to a lot of her shows, and since she's been more into acting lately with Wicked and other projects, I've been to like some Q&As where she was there. But I think like being part of the fandom side, like I'm so OG that I know we used to be called Tiny Elephants instead of Arianators. That was like her first fan name for her fans back in the day in like 2013, whenever I was first becoming like a fan of her music career. So I have been here for over 10 years now, and I know who she is as a person, and I know like the things she's been through and had to overcome, and also know like how her music has gone through different evolutions and phases. So yeah, I'm here for a long time. We'll forever support her for sure and anything she tackles.
Okay. And I want to ask you, like, in the time that you have been recording, like, your show, what has been like, kind of like the main satisfaction that you have had, like maybe talking with a world wrestler, or what the thing that had excited you the most?
Yeah, I mean, all the convos were great. I liked them for different reasons. The wrestling convo was great because he was also asking me questions. Like we each did Mount Rushmore of favorite
Mhm.
wrestlers, so that was kind of cool. The K-pop talk was great too because I got to nerd out a little bit about like the specific K-pop group that we highlighted is one that has different subunits as well. So there's like groups within the groups, so kind of
Mhm.
just talking about like the sounds of those different subunits was really cool. And then the Teen Wolf convos were great because like I haven't really thought about that show in a fandom sense in a long time, back when I was like on Tumblr at 14 years old, and to kind of make a comeback to that mindset and think about like all the iconic moments from the show with people that were so involved with it was super exciting.
Yes, and I never used Tumblr, so how does it feel to use Tumblr? I think it's there are things as an adult that you skip, like in my case, Snapchat. I have to get involved with TikTok, but how is to interact with Tumblr and
Yeah,
fandom?
mean, it's been a while. I'm like trying to remember. So Tumblr was it's like very, very visual heavy. Um, kind of like I think the comparison I would make it to now is like the same kind of vibes in the sense of like free flow conversation as Reddit, but with like
Mhm.
the visuals of Pinterest.
Okay. It's a little bit saturated. And what is kind of like the discussion that you can find like with fans back on Tumblr, or where are the spaces that you want to approach? Because sometimes, like as you mentioned, like there are different spaces now. I think I used to Facebook used to be like a big community, but right now there are new spaces. So, what is your plan to approach community and to approach fandoms so you get to know?
Yeah, I mean, I hope the podcast kind of naturally spawns some fans just because they see themselves in me, or they can kind of relate to somebody who has so many different passions and interests and just wants a space to kind of
Mhm.
freely talk about them. And then in terms of like where I'm going to be social wise, Instagram and TikTok and YouTube are going to be my main ways to like spread the word on social media. I've chatted with some folks on Reddit a little bit and a few like Facebook groups as well.
Mhm.
And we're doing a in-person launch party in Los Angeles next week, so connecting with some people in person will be cool too.
Yeah, that's actually quite an interesting exercise, right? Because there is like I collaborate a lot with some guys of a film festival back in Argentina and in Colombia, but they actually do a lot of meet and greets, and they're actually like in the case of horror is a big community, and there is a lot of love in horror, but there are other fandoms. I'm really connected with horror, but approaching those communities, and especially you're in LA, right?
Yeah.
So being in LA, I think there is a lot to know and a lot of possibilities to just have the chance to connect. So, what is the thing that you hope your listeners and viewers take away from your show?
Yeah, I mean, kind of going off what I was just talking about, I want people to feel like it's a safe space where they can listen and feel seen and supported, and like maybe relate to me. I feel like sometimes whenever you have like so many different passions, people try to say, why can't you just like one thing and like put you in a box? Or they think like maybe because it's a place from insecurity and a place from ignorance, just not knowing about the specific passions you have. But they may say like you're weird or why do you like that so much, whatever it may be. But like hopefully the show makes people realize like um, maybe you just haven't found the right people that are going to relate to you, but that's okay because this podcast is going to be a space for people like that.
Yeah, and that's something else that I want you to ask. What is going to be your approach? There is humor, there is analysis, there is like heartfelt storytelling. What is going to be the way that you are going to go within your podcast? Because sometimes like cracking jokes, not everybody do that, and you need like sometimes you need somebody to like help you.
Hmm.
So, what is going to be your approach to present your podcast?
Yeah, it's gonna be like pop culture analysis when I'm yapping for sure. There's gonna be some humorous and chaotic moments thrown in there. I recorded a teaser and made a joke about the Wicked MM meme, flip it around. So Maddy Mania, flip it around. Wicked Witch. So, yeah, hopefully you guys think I'm funny. I'm not gonna be like absolutely trying to be, but I think it'll just naturally happen whenever I'm getting so like hyped up about what I'm talking about.
Yes, and what is like your perspective of your podcast? Like in short term, you already have some episode, but like a medium term and long term, like vision for your space.
Yeah, medium term, I would love to only do in person. That'd be cool.
Mhm.
Um, to have like my own pod space where I always record in LA. That'd be awesome. And hopefully get like a few eyeballs. I'm not saying like I need a million subscribers or anything, but just like a few loyal supporters that love the pod would be exciting. And then long term, I mean, dream guest to interview would be cool. Like
Mhm.
Ariana would be up there for sure.
Actually, I will share my own experience. At some point, I think it's quite possible. I think it's you have a platform, and sometimes you have the chance to connect. I think at some point, my personal experience is like right now I'm terrible at LinkedIn. I suck because for me I feel really fake on LinkedIn. I feel like yeah, I think I feel it's kind of plastic, but I feel for people with like some kind of artistic side, Instagram, it's a version of LinkedIn that allows you to be yourself.
Yeah.
So as you advance, you can approach to different people that you usually won't do it. But we're getting close to the end of the time, but I wanna just ask us what do you wanna share, and what is like the feeling that you wanna share, like just share with the people that is watching right now.
Yeah. One, I just want to thank you again, Eric. I really appreciate you having me on. We've been in contact for like the other side of things before,
Mhm,
so it's kind of cool having me on as a guest.
mhm,
So thank you. Two, I just hope that one or two people see themselves in this pod. Whether they can relate to me as a host, as somebody who has all these different interests, or just wants to connect with other followers of the pod eventually, and know that like they're not alone in what they love. And hopefully like I want to call my fans, if I get fans at all, maniacs, because it's
mhm.
a play on Maddie Mania. And I think it'd be cool to have like one or two maniacs.
I hope that there are going to be several more, and I am pretty sure that it's going to happen. So just let's start that ball rolling, which is sometimes the hardest part of the thing. It's
Yeah.
not just having the idea; it's just putting the things necessary to the idea to roll, which you already have. And I know that it's going to be amazing.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Thank you very much for being with me tonight, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Eric.
Well, fellows, I hope that we can meet soon in another streamings from Cinepamina. Big hugs for Maddy, and we all wish that all the best in this new endeavor. So, Maddy, thank you again, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric.
See you. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.